Before joining AV, I was broke. From 4 calls booked in a month, I'm right now getting for some of my clients 4 calls a week. This has been the biggest change in my life. I'm never stressed about how much something costs. Found this completely innovative method of booking calls for ecom.
Today, we have an extremely interesting video on our hands. We have one of our clients from agentvelocity.io with us, Theodore. Thank you for being here. How are you doing, man?
Thanks for having me, man. I'm doing well.
What kind of a business you run and who you are?
Just this guy from Romania that 1 year ago had no fucking clue what a business is. When I started working with you guys, I had this idea that I was this crazy fucking salesman and I could rip off any sales call on planet Earth. And so what I wanted to do when I started out was cold email plus sales closing. But in the meantime, I cut out the sales closing part. Right now, my business model is sales scaling. I've got my own system made out for e-com marketing agencies only. I've called it Sniper Acquisitions because I liked the name. And it's based on using cold email to prove their offer and then finding other ways that make a lot more sense in order to scale faster than you would with cold email.
How did you decide that, okay, this is the niche that I want to go into, and how did you get so good in your niche?
When I started with you, I remember you gave me that first task to build a list of niches where I could just start ripping it in. And, marketing agencies was one of them, since I did have other friends working in the marketing space. All of the others were super fucking complicated. You said it would be too hard to get started in there. That's how I started with marketing agencies. And it just so happened that my first ever client was in ecom. My second marketing agency was a branding agency that I completely failed for. And so I thought, maybe I'm good at ecom. I wasn't at that time. After getting so many reps in, I think right now I'm a certified G in ecom. The secret is that I'm always in the trenches and I'm always building something new. I'm always trying to innovate ways to book more meetings for my clients. Every 3 months, my campaigns don't look anything like what they looked 3 months ago. So you got to keep it as dynamic as possible.
Before you started working with us 11 months ago, what was the thing that made you join Agent Velocity? Like, was there like a specific thing you were trying to get? Was there a frustration? What was the reason why you decided to join?
I actually think I had zero business experience before joining AV. I did try my own dropshipping store, but I don't think that was a business experience because I had no idea what I was doing. The other thing that actually helped me get started is that I was in a multi-level marketing, I think I would call it scheme right now, where I learned a lot about sales and closing deals. What I wanted to do when I joined AV was to actually get my first business, have someone teach me what a business is, because in business school, in university, I did not learn anything about business. I learned how to become the perfect employee for one, not how to start one. AV has been that for me. I learned what a business is, how to start a business, how to hire people. Mostly AV hasn't been only this place where I learned about cold email and sales. I've also learned about operations and scaling and what makes sense when you want to scale your business. So it's been really a great help, and it's been what I was looking for in all the other experiments I've had before.
Obviously, 11 months has gone by. Since that time, what kind of results have you achieved with your business?
First off, the thing that I'm most proud of is that in my first month with my first ecom client, on my sales call, I was like, I'll get you 30 meetings booked in. My guarantee was, I think, 60 days or something like that. In my mind, I was like, yo, I'll totally rip it for these guys. I'll get them 30 calls booked in a week. That didn't happen. I actually got them 4 or 5 meetings booked in our first month together. I was fucking desperate. That's where you and Rob came in and helped me understand how cold email works, because there's really no way of telling how it will work in a completely new niche with a completely new service. I'm actually super proud that I learned all of this from you guys, and that from 4 calls booked in a month, I'm right now getting for some of my clients 4 calls a week with the standard cold email setup that you're taught us how to build with the AV modules.
And that's crazy, because if you just stick to one niche for almost a year and you just keep iterating and like trying to become the best, like what are the results from it? I think that's also an amazing lesson for everyone else to learn.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. If you stick to one thing and you learn how to actually do it instead of pretending that you're doing it, it's going to work at some point. So repetition, in my point of view, is the key to mastering something. I don't think it actually matters how long you're doing it. It actually matters how hard you're trying to do it and how much effort you're putting into it.
So one thing really interested about, if you recall, do you remember how long it took you to like hit your first 5-figure month?
My first 5-figure month was in June. I remember I was super fucking excited because I found this completely innovative method of booking calls for e-com marketing agencies. And the trick with it is, I'm not going to give it away because it will only work so long as no one else besides me does it. It was one of those things I was talking about with a client for a few months before we actually tried it. And every time it came up in one of our calls, we were like, yeah, let's postpone this. Let's do this later. I don't think it's going to bring that much of a difference. When we actually tested it, we got some super sick results. In that month alone, we had an average of 10 calls booked per week for that specific client. But then I'm only doing it for one client because I don't want people to get those same tactics from multiple agencies.
That's what happens when you're just so good. But has that had any impact to your life?
I'm still super excited about cars. And before I joined AV, I imagined that, damn, one day I'm going to make money. I'm going to get so many cars. I'm going to drive sports cars all around the place. And guess what? I still have the same car I had before joining AV because I realized there's no need to own things when you can just rent them, have fun. So I realized with money, you can actually buy time from other people because if, let's say, I bought sports cars, then I'd have to take care of them. I'd have to get someone to do the registration for me or do it myself. I'd have to get them serviced. I'd have to do all this shit that takes time or money. And so I prefer just renting them out for a track day if that comes up. And the other thing that I realized is before joining AV, I was broke, 100% broke. I remember I was tracking my expenses. I knew what was in my bank account to the last figure. Right now, I only know the first figure. This has been the biggest change in my life. I realized you don't have to buy expensive stuff if it doesn't bring you more money. And I'm never stressed about how much something costs. This has been probably the biggest relief in my life.
At least for me, one of the biggest things, not just like getting the money, but having the skill. Because then you're, I think, a bit less stressed because you know that, okay, if suddenly I lost everything, you could just go back and you just sign an e-commerce agency as a client and just rip it for them and make all the money back. So what do you think the impact of working with us has been? Like, what if you started the lead generation agent journey 11 months ago, but you did it alone? You didn't start doing it with us. Where do you think you would be at?
So without you guys right now, I think I would still be stuck with my first 2 clients not being able to scale because I'd probably have all of these questions that, how do I scale this? How do I iterate that? How do I get a case study? Why isn't my campaign working? Why are my accounts disabled? I would have probably been able to hit, in a best case scenario, 5K alone. I guess AV has been the highest ROI thing, AV and instantly, for sure.
Do you remember where you first heard about us? And when you first heard about us, what really got your interest?
I was doing that multi-level marketing thing. Basically, what I was doing is I was selling financial investment plans. I had a huge problem with lead flow, so I was looking at ways to basically get more leads. One thing led to another. I found out you could do direct mail or even, direct DMs, cold DMs to people. I wasn't really aware of ways to do cold email in the way that I'm doing it right now. But once I realized there were so many ways to contact people, I just thought to myself, hold on, why would I stick to this multi-level marketing thing where I'm getting a tiny piece of commission and the rest of it goes to company? Instead, I could get leads for people that sell high ticket services, get a bigger piece of the pie since there's no longer an intermediary between us. I didn't have a clear direction on how or what I should be doing, but a friend of mine that told me, look, there's this guy Levy, he's doing this and this and that. And you could just get his lead gen kit and see if that fits you. So I did that. I decided I still had 0 business experience. I did not know what or how I was supposed to do. I really just wanted someone to be there with me, help me along the journey, because up to this point, I don't have a business partner and I wouldn't have made it here without you guys virtually replacing my business partner along the way, because I can get to you, ask for help whenever needed.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's like what we notice. Usually the first 3, 4, 5, 6 months is when we can help a lot. And then everyone figures it out on their own and they know what they need to do to get to like next stage in their business. And then they just a little bit disappear. So also it becomes a bit more specific. Like you might have one question a month, but that one question is like solves a lot of stuff instead of like asking a million questions a week. If you recall back, do you remember the reason why you started working specifically was like what, like you were in the sales call, like what made you like decide to pull the trigger? Like what got you over the fence?
I remember I was on the sales call with Colby. He asked me about what my goals are, where I want to get to. From the questions that he was asking, without even getting those answers back, I could tell from his questions that you guys were the right place to be, because he was actually asking me about what I want to do, how I want to do it, and what my goals are, rather than trying to sell me on if I want to make 5K online in 3 months.
Imagine there's someone watching this video and they're like, okay, this sounds interesting. I have been thinking about doing lead gen, but I'm not 100% sure how to do it. How likely are you to recommend us? Why should someone listening take action right now and join us?
First off, I'd recommend you guys because, as I said, you've been like a business partner to me. You've helped me all the way up until I could do everything all by myself. The simple answer to both questions, why you should join AV and why you should do it now, is that you're going to save a lot of time. And believe me, you're going to make a lot of money in the long run, but time is something that you don't get back. One thing I've noticed with AV is it's not only the coaches, there's also the community members that are there to help you. And there's always someone that's one step ahead of you. And if you've got a problem, there's always someone who's been through that specific problem and they can tell you exactly what you need to do in order to troubleshoot it and find the specific way that's going to get you out of that hole.
Amazing interview and amazing call, Theodore. Obviously, for everyone watching, if you're looking to build a B2B lead generation agency and that's something that you truly are interested in doing, go check out agentvelocity.io. We have some free stuff there to look over, some training, etc. And if it's still something that interests you, go ahead and book a call and maybe we will work together and maybe you will be on the next call with me here. Thank you everyone for watching.